Well, this is the new Mercedes-Benz EQE500 and we are shooting this car right now in the beautiful location of Kashmir. We are in the valley of Gulmarg, and what's special about this car? Well, this is the equivalent, electric equivalent of the GLE. So yes, a brand new car, fully electric, and the best part is that this is the fully spec variant, just one variant on sale. It has all the bells and whistles that Mercedes-Benz has to offer. But for me, one other special thing about this car is that this is electric, yes, but the key thing is that this is the car with 56-inch ka Sina. And why do I say that? Well, I will tell you that in a short time. But for now, this is the EQE500 and we are in Kashmir, and let's find out what this car is all about. Now, talking of the design of the EQE500, well, this, like I said earlier, is the electric version of the GLE. So you will find some similarities, but still it looks very different from the GLE. In fact, if I were to compare this with the GLE has got more of a muscular design. This is less muscular, but looks more modern, is sleeker, looks futuristic, of course, because of this grille that you see up front. Completely dark, completely shut off. Being an EV doesn't need that air cooling. So that again gives it a very good futuristic and a sleek look. You've got this LED, again DRL, that runs from one end to the other. And if you look at the overall design, again, it's got a very curvaceous design. So it looks modern and dynamic. Now, if you move to the side, again, there are these nice looking 20-inch alloy wheels. Of course, the closed design also has aerodynamic effects in terms of helping with the range. One interesting feature here on the side is this small structure here. This is the point where you will put in your washer fluid from, and the reason why you have it here is because in this vehicle you cannot open the hood. The hood can only be opened at the service center. So this is where you put the washer fluid from. But continuing towards the side, again, you can see it's got this nice sloping roof line here, and they've got this integrated spoiler. So as a result of that, you do not get that muscular butch SUV feel, but instead what you get is more of a sleek SUV, and it looks modern. Like I said, it looks elegant, and I think that is precisely what buyers in this segment, or specifically Mercedes-Benz buyers, want. Even at the back, you've got this very smart looking tail lamp, again runs from one end to the other and integrates well with the overall design. So yes, as far as the looks are concerned, the EQE500 definitely is a smart looking SUV and has a forward looking design. Alright, so now before we go ahead and start talking about the interior, and before I tell you what the story about the 56-inch or the 56-inch reasoning behind this car is, do subscribe to our channel, hit that little bell icon so that you can stay updated with all our forthcoming videos, and if you like this video, please share it as well. And now let's talk about the cabin experience of the EQE500. Now, to start with the cabin, well, the cabin that you see here, and just in case you're wondering, well, that's an overload of white, or it's too light of an interior to maintain in the long term. Well, the good news is this is not the only option. You can choose between this one, and you can also go in for a darker upholstery. So that is the good thing. But yes, for those who like light interiors, well, this is there and it looks pretty damn good. Now, coming to the features, well, this car, like I said earlier, it's not a low spec version. There's no variant in this. You just get one standard variant, which is the fully spec'd version. And this comes with all the bells and whistles. So you get this massive hyper screen, and that's where, if you remember in the beginning of the video, I said 56-inch wali gadi. This is 56 inches. So we all know why 56-inch is famous, and this resonates well with that. So yes, it's a massive screen, not a single unit. It's a combination of 3 units, which is this instrument cluster, and you've got this again massive unit in the center console unit, and your co-passenger also gets access to the third screen, wherein you have the option of controlling a lot of functions, including media and a lot more. Also seat massaging. So yeah, a very, very elaborate screen. In terms of touch response, in terms of user interface, well, it's the usual user interface. Takes a bit of time getting used to, but once you're up to speed, works well. The touch response is fluid, works like a charm, and visibility, even under direct sunlight, is pretty damn good. So very good on that front. The steering, well, it's the usual Mercedes-Benz steering, comes with all of the controls, has got that same touch feel to it. So there are no physical buttons per se, so a lot of functions are done by just sort of sliding your fingers over it. Can be a bit irritating at times and take some time getting used to, but yeah, eventually when you get used to it, probably it might serve you better. That brings us to the seats. The seats are pretty good. I like the cushioning of these seats. Also, the size of the seat is pretty nice. So irrespective of your body frame, you should be able to find good comfort in these seats. They come with heating and cooling functions. So that again is a bonus, irrespective of whatever weather conditions are there in wherever part of the country you stay in. So yes, fully decked out in that terms. There's this massive panoramic sunroof, the front half of which opens. You've got wireless charging. You've got this very good looking wooden interior panel here. Again, it's star studded. The Mercedes star is there all over it. Looks pretty damn good. And beyond that also, if you look at the space, the practicality of the cabin, again, the car scores pretty high. A lot of usable cubby holes all around the cabin, and the overall ergonomics are pretty much spot on. Comfort, as usual, the same that you would expect from a Mercedes-Benz. It delivers. Even at the back, you've got good amount of leg room, and the rear bench, maybe the under thigh support, well, that is an area which can be better. So for someone like me who's 5 feet 8 inches in height, well, it was just about okay. Maybe I would feel the lack of under thigh support on a long journey. So if you're taller than that, well, the problem will be a little more pronounced. But beyond that, like I said, lots of space. Even the headroom doesn't get compromised despite the sloping roof line. And as a result of all of this, you get a very nice, comfortable cabin. And of course, it's electric, so it's always silent. And the benefit of that silence is that, well, you get to enjoy this brilliant Burmester audio system even better. So for all your audiophiles out there, it's pretty good news. Alright, now let's talk about the performance of the EQE500, and this comes with a 90.6 kilowatt hour battery. The figures look pretty good. 402 horsepower, mammoth 858 Newton meters of torque. Mercedes claims this can do the 0 to 100 sprint in just under 5 seconds and will go on for 550 kilometers on a single charge. But those are claims. How does it perform in the real world? To start with, well, it's an electric, so starts without any sound, no drama there at all. And yes, being an electric means all that 858 Newton meters of torque is at your disposal right from the word go. So no lag from the moment you start, and it accelerates in a very strong fashion. It's not the type of acceleration that will pin you back to the seat. It's more of a linear acceleration, but yes, it's strong enough to keep the drive engaging and fun. Beyond that, as far as top speed is concerned, it will go on a bit above 200 kilometers per hour, but I don't think that would be a very good idea, because at that speed, this car would be draining the battery at a very high rate. But yes, if you are cruising at about 120, 130, I think that's a very sweet spot for this powertrain. Works flawlessly and doesn't really sap up the battery that much as well. So it doesn't really affect your range in a negative way too much. In terms of range, well, 550 kilometers, like I said, that's the claimed range. In the open world, well, I think reality what you'll get is about 400 kilometers, plus minus about 10%, depending on your driving conditions. Like right now, we are driving through the hill section and we are going down. So, of course, I've been on 82% since a long time, and now I'm only up to 80% because the car's barely consuming any energy. In fact, it's regenerating a lot of energy going downhill. And talking of regeneration, you can actually change the regeneration levels using the paddle shifters here. In a combustion vehicle, you would usually use them to shift through the transmission, but here you can lower or increase the intensity of the regen. So that again is something you can manipulate, and that does have a direct impact on the range that you get from the battery. In terms of ride and handling, well, it is a pretty heavy vehicle, a 90.6 kilowatt hour battery, and that too mounted underneath the floor. So yes, it's not light on its foot, but again, that 858 Newton meters of torque ensures that it moves around in a very quick fashion. And even through corners, it doesn't really come across as a vehicle that doesn't want to change directions quickly. So if you are going through an S section or a continuous series of sharp curves, it will go around them with good confidence. But yes, do keep in mind, it's not a dynamically sharp or a sporty SUV. So it is a comfortable SUV which you can push around corners, and considering that you stay within sane limits, it is pretty damn good to drive. Ride quality, being a Mercedes-Benz, is again towards the comfortable side in this one, and well, all of the weight of the battery having an impact on the suspension means that it is slightly firmer in terms of being sprung than, say, a petrol GLE, but again, still not to an extent that your ride quality would be uncomfortable or the occupants would feel hassled. So it will still gobble up all the surface undulations and the potholes in a very confident manner. And that brings us to the last part of the video, which is the conclusion, and this is where we tell you whether the EQE500 is worth buying or not. Well, of course, let's compare the price with the GLE first. The GLE on road should cost you about 1.2 crore. That's the top petrol version. And if you're going in for the EQE500, this will be about a little over 1.5 crores on road. So say for about 30-35 lakh rupees extra, what do you get? You get this massive hyper screen, you get some more features, you get a different looking car which looks maybe not as muscular as the GLE, but more futuristic, and most importantly, you get an electric powertrain. So if you want to be the poster child of green mobility within your peers, well, I think the car does that job in a very good manner.